Hello team, welcome to the last video in this half-term series of flipped learning. In this video we're going to look back at what we did and also look forward to an alternative view or way of thinking about flipped learning and what's going on. Okay, so it all starts from the website. Okay, we went there every night. That was our go-to place for homework. 24 videos in total you watched, and I can tell from the hit count that you watched them over and over again to make sure you were learning. It was brilliant to see. I saw some of you doing it at school. I know that many of you are doing it at home. It wasn't without its technical issues, was it? There were many times when internet would crash or the laptop wasn't working, but we found ways around it, which is brilliant. So what were the videos on? There were videos to start with on brackets and BIDMAS, and then we moved into the language of algebra, expressions, terms, variables, that kind of thing. And from there we went on to trying to solve some early problems using the bar model from our friends in Singapore, which segued into something more algebraic, simplifying equations, simplifying expressions, expressions that involved multiplication or addition, expressions that involved one or two variables. And from there we went into substituting values into expressions. And finally that then all came together with a lot of solving equations. Solving equations that just took one step or maybe two steps. Solving equations that involved brackets or unknowns on both sides or unknowns on both sides and brackets. And I'd like to think we got pretty far in a short space of time. But the truth of the test will be in the post-learning quiz that you did today, and I really hope that you've done very, very well and demonstrated all the mastery that I've been seeing in class. At this point I want to look at what we might start to call this perhaps in the future. So far we've been calling it flipped learning, and the reason for that is because contrary to normal learning, what's taking place with flipped learning is that the homework is being done in school and the learning part, so to speak, is taking place at home. I've got a slight problem with that, which is that learning isn't really just taking place at home. I think something else is predominantly going on at home, but there's still an awful lot of learning, and maybe the majority of the learning that's taking place at school. So let's have a look at my alternative view and tell me what you think in the form below. So I'm going to start looking at it on a time scale instead to start with. We've got Sunday going across to Monday and Tuesday, and you can see that Monday and Tuesday have got orange blocks of time which are dedicated to the time you spend in school. Now within the time that you spend in school there will be a block of teaching specifically for maths, taking place on Monday and taking place on Tuesday and taking place on Wednesday and so on. Okay, well I want to try something out called time shifted teaching, and really it's the same thing as what we've been doing, but perhaps just a different way of looking at it and a different name for it. With time shifted teaching, the teaching element is shifted to the home environment. Okay, from school it's shifted in time backwards, if you like, to the evening before. So I'm proposing that instead of me talking about blended learning or flipped learning, I start talking about time shifted teaching. Now my main reason for wanting to do that is because I think it's much easier to understand what the changes are when you're talking about time shifted teaching. I've had a lot of questions from people saying, flip learning, what's that? I don't understand the flip part of it. And I also think it's a bit misleading to say that the learning is all taking place at home now and we're doing homework in school, because that's not the case. In fact, really what's really going on is that the teaching I've shifted from doing it in class, standing up at the front, to doing it via video and you watching the video the night before. And that allows for the likelihood that you're doing some of your learning at home, but also a lot of your learning in class. So we haven't moved the learning, we've just moved the teaching. And that's why I think time-shifted teaching is an easier phrase to understand. And the more people we get to understand this, hopefully the more people will try using it. So the benefits are still the same as I said right at the beginning of the half term. For pupils, you get to learn before the lesson and you get to watch the video over and over. For parents, you can see what your child is learning, and that then puts you in a position where you can help your child more easily. And for teachers, you spend less time teaching in the classroom and more time helping. That's not to say you don't do any teaching, but you spend more time being able to float around the class and help individual pupils with their concerns. And by giving pupils more time and giving pupils the videos to watch at home, you're giving them more control of their learning and greater independence. Okay, so that's time-shifted teaching for you. That's a review of the half term for you. Thanks very much for watching. See you soon.